want to be part of the meeting, you need to come in. We're about to get started.
And then if everybody gets signed in with your name and address, I appreciate that, the sign-in sheets out there.
When you're ready.
Hearing yourself.
I know. Okay, let's call to order the planning board meeting for Wednesday, June 21st. The first item on our agenda is to approve the minutes from the June 7th, 2023 meeting. Has everyone had an opportunity to look over the minutes? If there's any questions, concerns, any changes you need to be made? No, would someone like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from our last meeting? Charlie, and second by Nicole. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, moving on. Our next item on our agenda is a Helm subdivision, current site plan and public hearing. So are there representatives for this application? If you'd like to come forward, you guys can all come here. You know what, you can come right here if you like. Yeah, so we can.
The name.
Yeah, you guys can come up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm gonna do
Good to see you.
So we've got Chris and Maureen Helms, 310 Quaker Meeting House Road, Honeyett Falls, for a 2-lot subdivision on property located at 310 Quaker Meeting House Road, consisting of 2.5+ acres. One lot will be 1.353 acres and one lot will be 1.162. On the 1.162 acre lot, Jeff and Chelsea Kern intend to build a single family home and have submitted proposed site. So we are here for the subdivision and site plan approval. Yes. So.
Yeah, you made it easy. So I'm Bill Grohl, the engineer on the project.
Hi, Bill.
Hi. So you summarized it pretty well. It's an existing lot that we're splitting into two so that Jeff and Chelsea can build a house next door to Chelsea's parents. And it's pretty simple, I think. They're on town water. Septic will require just a conventional system. Submitted plans to the Monroe County Health Department. So we're awaiting approval on that, but fairly simple and straightforward. I don't know what question you'd like to.
And you did see our engineer had a few questions, and so did our code enforcement officer. And did you see any issues with any of the things that they? I mean, you make so. Oh, you did respond.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, sorry.
There wasn't anything major on there. I did end up shifting from the original plan. We shifted the house about 3 feet to the north to make the driveway turnaround meet the 10-foot setback requirement, and also expanded that turnaround area slightly. To give it a little more room for vehicles to turn around.
Okay.
What else did we do? We checked with the water authority about the flow at the hydrant. They told us that there would be 1,500 gallons per minute at 66 psi. And that's in the worst case scenario with the pump not running. So if the pump's running, they'll have more than that.
Okay.
There's a couple, maybe 4 or 5 existing box elder trees in the what fall in the leach area that will be taken out, but maybe a couple of trees in the corner of the leach area that have to come on. But other than that, the back of the property is wooded.
So the existing tree buffers.
Yep, and
Going to
remain.
Okay.
I added arrows showing the drainage path, surface water drainage path, and added a couple of the typical design details out of your design manual.
Okay.
So that, I believe, addressed all of the CEO's comments. And then the town engineer asked that we add the limited disturbance, which we did. It's just under half an acre of disturbed area total. I added the electric service path and adjusted the elevation of the culvert at the road. And then fixed a couple call outs that were kind of running to water space, I guess. So
Oh, Okay. Does anybody have any additional questions?
What's the date that I should be looking at for the most current?
The June 13th.
It's just a little typo. I'm sure there's not 100-foot difference in your contour line.
No.
It's 645. Since 645.
Oh,
Your contours
yeah.
are in the 500s and the
Yep.
existing to 600s.
So, we'll cut it at 100 feet. No, you're right. Sorry about that.
It's nothing. I figured that was just a typo. I actually don't have much on this. This is pretty straightforward and I don't have much.
Not much?
No.
Is it to be a walkout basement?
On the backside,
Yeah,
yes.
it lends itself to that.
Mhm. It does. It's, yeah, it's really laid out nice.
Earl? You got nothing? Nobody's got anything. This is gonna be so easy. So, we kind of thought that maybe we would, have, a quick meeting for this tonight.
Okay.
And our attorney nicely drew up a quick little resolution for us. So I'll kind of just briefly go over the Oh, I'm gonna open a public hearing. Thank you. Public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak regarding this property. Oh, we do have someone. I'm sorry. Oh, boy. Hi.
My name is Jim Baker, from the property to the south.
Jim, can I have your address, please?
Sure. 237 Cheese Factory Road. And first, congratulations to the parents and the daughter and son-in-law that want to live next door. That's a win, right? That's what we all want. We thoroughly enjoyed being next to your 2.5 acre lot on our little 1 acre lot. So just ask that as you're winding down, you consider what you can with the landscaping on the perimeter, so we can all have that sense of separation.
Absolutely.
But it's, here, enjoy it. Welcome home, I guess.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. Yes. Okay, so now, anyone else? Anyone else? No? Okay, then I guess we can close the public hearing. And then you have a motion from somebody to close public hearing. Nicole, second by Earl, and all in favor? Aye. Okay, so before we vote on the preliminary and final subdivision and site plan, the few conditions that are here, which I think most of them have already been met. Prior to signatures on the site plan, the signed subdivision map shall be filed. Prior to signatures on the subdivision or site plan, comment 1 through 4 to the town engineers. Town engineer issued pursuant to letter dated May 15th, be addressed to the town engineer's satisfaction. That prior to signatures on the site plan, comments 1, 2, 6, and 7 of the code enforcement officer issued pursuant to letter dated May 24th, be addressed to the code enforcement officer's satisfaction. That prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy, that comment number 3 and 5 of the code enforcement officer issued pursuant to letter dated May 24th, be addressed to the code enforcement officer's satisfaction. That any approvals or permitting required by the Department of Health be obtained. And there we have it. So those are the conditions of your approval. If we vote to approve your subdivision and your site plan. So does anyone? Okay, Earl, anybody? Oh.
We need to do secret first.
Oh.
Yes, it's
Part of the
I'm
rest.
sorry. I didn't have
oh, it's part of the resolution. I'm sorry that can you tell me about the secret there quickly, Don?
Yeah, the resolution is to approve and complete seeker and subject the approval to those conditions.
Okay, and we've got that here, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's the board's pleasure. It would be a negative declaration.
yes, so, okay, so now. So move for all. Second. Charlie. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, congratulations. There's our draft of our resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
The chairs move back, try.
Yeah. Yeah, we.
Okay, who got? So. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I got some.
It's
Yeah, right.
updated in May, down the bottom.
I couldn't find anything.
Different. I don't know the model.
They put the building footprints off, I think.
Yeah, the envelope, the building envelopes. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is the public hearing for the Crowley subdivision. I'm sorry, what?
I did it.
Sorry. Josh, I'm gonna ask, I don't even see Josh. Oh, there you are. Hi. Is there anything that you would like to add or continue letting us know about since our last meeting before we actually invite the public to speak? Nope, you're good where you are right now? That's great. Okay. Okay. So who is the first person who would like to speak in reference to this matter?
Did we announce what it's for?
I did say the public hearing. Oh, they couldn't hear it. It is a public hearing for the Crowley subdivision. The public hearing is a continuation of our last public hearing, and we just opened the public hearing for any public that would like to be heard. No public to be heard. Okay, so planning board, we've had a little bit of a time to review a few things, think about a few things. Is there any comments that you would like to make regarding this application?
Bring Josh up.
Oh, Josh, do you want to come up?
Sure.
Yeah, you guys just come up so we can, if we have questions, we can just, we don't have to yell across the room to you guys. Thank you for providing the updated site plan with the building envelopes removed. Sorry. Okay, but anything anyone would like to say before I talk, because I do all the talking all the time.
You're good at it.
Not overly good at it. So, you know, I guess I'm gonna start talking because nobody else did. I think we're very concerned as a board with the historic impacts and exactly how these houses are going to actually come to fruition and how, if they're approved, how they are going to actually look. Let's see here. No, I did have notes here somewhere. Oh, there we go. So in order to, for us to get a better feel for what's going to happen here in the future, I mean, obviously you just want you've just presented the site plan, or not the site plan, the subdivision. And that's basically what your application asked for, but you also said that it was to have 4 residential building lots, which we do know now is only going to be 3 residential building lots because that one you can't do anything on. So in order to make a more informed decision, the board needs to complete seeker. And in order to do that, we need more information from you, the applicant. So we are hoping that you can provide to us some photo simulation to scale, kind of showing what these houses might look like in relation to the historic home that's across the street. The view, you know, just simple, nothing, you know, don't spend gazillions of dollars here, but it would be very helpful for that. To also show us some landscape screening that you know, that might go around some of the homes to help screen and protect the visuals from the neighbors. And also a finished floor elevation. So we know exactly where the height of the building is going to be. And that will kind of come with the photo simulation, so we'll be able to get a better feel for that. I know you provided these wonderful photos, and it does show some, blockage of the, view, but I'm thinking that, you know, once the houses get there, it's going to be a little, you know, we just want to make sure that it's not going to be too intrusive. And now that I've gone on about that,
Can I ask a question?
yeah.
I'm just wondering, with that being done, say he does decide to do that,
Mhm.
and we come forward and we get granted on that, that doesn't really hold up for someone that buys the lot that is gonna build that house. Because if Josh decided to build it for somebody, and someone comes and buys it, and they said, that's not the home I want to build, I'm spending all this money to build that home. This one, can just.
Right, and so, you know, we've talked considerably about that as a board. And one of the things that, initially you said you were going to be the one who was going to be developing the properties, so you would be maybe not the builder, but just the developer.
We would potentially build them, but they wouldn't be spec houses. You know, we wouldn't build 3 houses and then go to sell them.
Right, you would build them
Yeah.
to custom.
My only
So-
concern with this is that's just gonna add additional costs that's really not gonna be used. It's just gonna drive the cost, you know, of the property itself.
What we're not interested at this point in specific architectural details. What we would like to see is the massing and the scale and the proportions in relation to the building that's surrounded, I guess. Best way to do that would be a view, you know, down the road where you could see the setting and anything that's proposed. I know it's hypothetical. But we wouldn't approve anything that comes to this board later if it's not within the proper massing or the scale or any of those architectural components that would not get approved anyway. So we would have to see something that really would fit with the character of the setting.
It seems like we're going back and forth on putting houses on the map, not putting them, wanting that.
No.
Wanting that idea of
Yeah, I
a
can
house
see
and
where
the
that would be
visual and
confusing.
things.
Yeah, I can see where that
I
would.
wonder if we're looking at a subdivision or if we're trying to get that site approval kind of wedged in there a little bit.
So I think that, when we look at the subdivision, we have to consider the fact that there will be houses built on those 3 lots. I mean, there'd be no other real reason for you to subdivide it unless somebody wanted to hopefully put some buildings on their homes. With the historic buffer, the wetlands, we know that there's just a very small area to build these houses in. So I think we just want to do our due diligence. And, you know, the neighbors are concerned. And we want to make sure that we do our due diligence to make sure that anything that we do and that we actually see what we're looking at and that we're able to, well, I don't know how, am I saying this right? I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, so part of the seeker, it's confusing, I know, because we asked you to take the footprints off. Part of the reason is because it didn't help your arguments. They were just big blocks, big blocky rectangles, it didn't help you.
Sure.
So seeker considers environmental things, not just, you know, erosion and things like that, but also the environment and the setting of how you're going to change your surroundings. And so that's why the massing and the scale and what you're putting in is important. And this actually, I think, will help your argument. If you can show that you can put something there across from a historic property and it will look just fine. And that these sites don't have to be preserved in amber as historic, you know, pieces that you can't do anything with.
Mhm.
I think it will really help your argument to actually show some kind of I don't want to say rendering because that implies a big expensive drawing. It could even be a perspective sketch, photo montage, something like that to just be able to describe what you have in mind, but on these sites. And it can be tastefully done and it can work, I believe. I've seen things like this work out before. And if you keep in mind these elements of scale, the finished floor is important because you wouldn't want to be putting something that's totally different, you know, a finished floor elevation that's way higher than everything else, for instance, because it would stand out. These are questions that would be answered really quickly in an image that people would have, your neighbors might have, you know.
I get that, and we can think about doing that. I guess my only concern is just that, again, like, we're not the ones that are gonna be paying that bill for the house, you know? Like, somebody is going to see those renderings, and if they decide to do something completely different, you know, that would be up to you guys to decide that site plan approval, whether they can do that or not, but I just feel like if I go through and jump through this hoop and create this, it's almost like I have no control over really, you know, what we're gonna do with that image, and it just seems almost disingenuous for me to do that.
If I may,
Mhm.
I think with the approximate floor elevations, I'm looking to Anthony, and given the topography of the site and what the grading is gonna be, I think it's somewhat apparent what those finished floors will be approximate, again. And I go back to Teresa, the home would be a mass and a scale. We're not looking for an architectural rendering or any architectural details, just, okay, we have a home. You know,
With a footprint,
a footprint.
which you already put on a map,
A
so.
home,
Agree.
and again, if you're showing 3 gables on this photo simulation, the homeowner wants 4. That we're
Right.
not looking to say, oh, they can't have 4 gables because you only showed 3. So, Mr. Carlo, we don't want to box you in on these. We're just looking for mass scale, like an approximate floor elevation, so that we get that perspective from the surrounding area. And again, I don't think the board is asking for anything expensive or that crazily detailed, but give them a much better feeling of how this will all fit. And I think Teresa said it very well on, you know, what the purpose of this is. Without getting, you know, into a huge expense.
And you don't have to say tonight, okay, that's what I'm gonna do, and we'll come back to another, and you can take some time to think about it, you can let us know, you can. You know, you can do whatever you want, you don't have to make a decision tonight, and
Is it possible that you would be able to get to a better understanding with questions and answers? Like, for instance, you know, the elevation of the land. If we were to do 2-story or 3-story, 2,000, 3,000 square foot houses, would that be ideal for what you're asking for? Or is there something a picture is going to show that that's not going to do?
I
Kind of want something tangible to look at. A visual.
Do you have an example of what that might be?
I do not have an example. Mike, do you have anything?
Yes, plan without any engineering on it.
Yeah, again, you know, we had talked about, Anthony, about going to a grading plan, where's your septic and all that, but rather than going through that expense.
Right.
Is,
Yeah, it was just, the reason we didn't go down that road, is we didn't want to get to a point here, and be denied, and he spends
No.
$20,000.
and I don't think that the board wanted to go down that
No,
road
we
either.
didn't.
Being not a major subdivision, it doesn't really call for them.
Right.
I think to address the hedgerow part too for the historic preservation, you know, they did say you can't, but you can if there is a hedgerow. So if you could maybe just plot out where you thought on the property where that would go, I think that would suffice for some to negate an issue a little bit.
There is a significant, sure, hedgerow along the south side. Black walnuts and 8-inch diameters. There's also kind of significant burn there too as well. If you're coming down there, you take a left out of house, drive the hedgerow, blocks out, that's there. Water. There might be a tree taken out to the driveway there, but.
They're deciduous though, right? So in the winter, you wouldn't get much benefit from them.
I guess.
What kind of hedgerow would we? I was trying to show in that picture, I mean, we're
I
talking
know.
about another 30
I
foot
think we
tree.
kind of changed the terminology to plantings on
Plantings,
that.
that's the other thing, it's hard to tell how much space you're gonna put with your depth here.
I know, because you do show in these pictures, you do show a lot of
It is
mature trees all around, and want to take another, you guys want to take another peek? That's all.
And as you do go around Topspin Drive, as soon as you get to where Topspin is, there was no plantings ever put on the side of the drive. Why, as you go through there. The only thing that's actually mature at Topspin Drive is along Josh's plan. Anything else is, there's nothing there.
I guess I'm thinking more along Pittsford Mendon Center Road, where you're be having the fronts of the houses, correct? That probably would be your front.
So they'll be up to Topspin Drive.
Oh, they're all Topsman.
Yeah,
So these will be the end views then.
Yeah, I want the end view. The one on the corner there might have a different angle that might be more appropriate for center, for Mendon Center Road, but the other ones. So as you went down, traveling south, it's just more, you know. It would be kind of like one of those like, a stretch left hand, to see what's there, you're going past it.
and the rest of it would be forever wild, you know, wetland and open pasture or open field, whatever it is, it's a buffer zone.
Yeah.
Well, we could block that, but I don't see why we'd want to do that.
No, I don't think that would help you at all. I think that's. It's fine the way that is.
You know, and I think we do need to complete seeker. We've talked about that, right, Don? Like, as a board, we've kind of hashed over all the different ways to look at this, and seeker's probably we do need to do a seeker evaluation on this property regardless, right?
Yeah,
So,
Seeker's State Environmental Quality Review Act, it's a prerequisite to approval. I mean. The board would have an easier time with this if you came in with a site plan when you were ready to subdivide. Because right now, you don't, this is the challenge, right? Is that we're having to consider something, we don't have a site plan. So if you say you're gonna be the one developing it, that would be, you know, I think that would be helpful to the board if you had it, you know, when the time came. You had a site plan to look at.
So does the town have a subdivision site plan requirement? If you're gonna subdivide, you have to have a site plan? Or just because this is a potential building lot?
The code, I believe the code has a provision in there that essentially says, when at all possible, have a site plan for your subdivisions, but I don't believe that it's a strict requirement.
Okay.
Which is why you're before us, right?
Correct,
If
yeah,
it's a
I mean,
requirement,
if
we would have rejected the application.
I guess, you know, the other thought is there's 3 lots, but there's nothing stopping somebody from buying 2 or all 3 or buying it and keeping it what it is.
right, someone could buy it and even donate it to someplace, Mendon Foundation or something, and then they take their tax write-off and. Yeah, I mean, that's always an option too. Has anyone approached you about purchasing the property?
Nobody's come with any serious.
Nobody.
offers yet.
And it's not currently for sale, correct?
No.
No. So, with all that said, I mean, we can't make a determination tonight without a seeker evaluation. And that needs to be completed, and, you know, those are the things that we would want to look at in the seeker evaluation, would be those 3 things, the scale and the mass of how it is in relationship to the current homes in the area. Any landscape screening, hedgerow, anything that you could maybe, you know, and being the developer, you would, you know what I mean? You might be able to kind of plot that out, and the finished floor elevations will definitely help. You know, we don't want something, you know, because you might have to build up the property, right, to actually put the house there. We don't want anything to be up too high. So, you know, you don't want to towering over anything else. So, you know, I think we can get you on another meeting. If you want, you can take your time and think about it. You can get a hold of Katrina. I know, we have to, we're not going to have a meeting on July 5th. In our July 19th meeting, we're not going to have a quorum, so we're gonna have to reschedule that one, and we haven't looked at calendars yet to know what date that's going to be, so. Anyway, so I mean, we can't, we're just not in the position, we don't have enough we still don't have enough information right now to actually grant an approval. But I'm glad to know that we're moving that way, and you've been so helpful. You've done everything we've asked you to do without question. You went out of your way, you got these great pictures showing exactly, what some of the views were going to be. I mean, as a board, we really appreciate the efforts that you've made to get this going. And it's just very tricky with the EPAs and the wetlands and the historical and the menopause. It's just a sticky situation right here. So anyway, if you want to take some time and then get back in touch with Teresa, and we'll get you back on the we'll get you, or not Teresa, to Katrina, one of those A ones. Just talk to Katrina and she'll look at you kind of scheduled, and if you want to, if you decide you still want to move forward with the process.
Yeah, I guess one last question is just your comment about the building towering over. Are there things that you would give us as pointers as you would like to not see on those pictures, or just some parameters to go with so that we don't come here and have to.
And go back again and have to do it all over again? Anybody, Mike, we briefly talked about the floor elevations and, and that would be just.
Yeah. And again, it's a rough approximate grade. And I think Teresa said it best. We're looking for that mass and scale of that perspective. We're not looking for a detailed architectural look. A photo simulation of if you will, with some augmentation of landscaping between those walnuts that might help break up just the facades of those. And I think that's what the board's looking for. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And what might help you to know is that they're looking for that so that they can complete their seeker analysis, which includes an analysis of historic impacts. And you're proposing to develop a historic buffer. So
yeah,
this is part of the process we need to go through.
Yep, I'm just unfamiliar with that. But yeah, makes sense.
Thank you for mentioning that. We don't think to mention these things because it's part of what we're doing. So you're probably wondering what.
That's what they're trying to do, is trying to make an assessment on the historic impact of the proposal.
Yep.
But whatever you can show that can help the board to make that assessment is what they want to see.
So we do have someone from the public that would like to address the board.
Hold on just a minute. Are we done?
Are we done? Well,
Did we close the public hearing?
were we gonna leave it open until the next meeting?
Yeah, I
correct?
think we should.
Yes. So we're not going to close the public hearing. We'll leave it open to the next meeting. We're not sure when our next meeting is going to be. Katrina will post that and advertise it. Yes. Okay.
I actually just had a question.
Hold on. Why don't we dismiss the applicants so that the public, I don't think we should have them talking over each other.
Okay.
So if Josh decides to do this and we come up with some photo simulation, will the town be able to complete the seeker for the next meeting? So we can put information.
We can't speak to the timing. We don't know what we're gonna get. We don't know when we're gonna get it. We can't make any promises ahead of time.
Will you have a meeting in July or do we have it?
There'll be one in July.
Well, we hope there will be.
We hope that I have it booked. I know. I have somebody on the agenda, so there's gonna be some.
Understand.
So I have to have one. in July.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Anybody from the public like to speak? I'd like to remind you, you have 3 minutes. I know you said you had a question. We really don't do back and forth in a public hearing, so.
You can.
No,
Sorry.
yeah. So. All right, so is there any other public that would like to be heard? Yes, no?
Sure, well, I'll just say it then, that was a question.
Can you see your name and address? please?
Emily Watson, it's 2 that's from the Center. Mr. Cully added those lots to the Eastern Agricultural District number 6 just last year. And I was curious what happens when things are subdivided if lots are already connected.
Thank you very much. And anybody else? No? Okay. Well, I guess we will move on to our next order. Wait, blah. I'm keeping you out, Don. What?
Is there any way we can talk about the next meeting now while people are here?
Yeah. I mean, the problem is I have to work with somebody who's scheduled for the 19th. Oh, that's the
Okay.
issue. There's somebody on here for site plan. It's shed forward in front of it. So it's not a deeply involved, requiring mic or anything, but I don't know. And I don't know who's here when and what and meetings and
You mean other boards?
yeah. And the posting, I mean, it's gotta be posted minimum 5 days. But it's
We know all
not,
the posting parts and saying,
right,
if we pick a date right now, can you tell us whether this is open or not?
I know I don't have that, I don't have the information.
Right, so the meeting was July 19th, right?
Right,
I was confused, I'm sorry, I thought it was the 17th.
okay,
I can make the 19th.
okay.
I just,
Would be
I thought it was
quorum,
the
would be
17th, so
council
I'm good for the 19th. If that's still,
Well, Don's not
Then I
available.
would have a conflict.
Okay.
Yeah. And you could still go on without me if you want.
No, thank you.
Yeah, but I,
No, thank you.
You could have the shed on here though.
that's the one I would have, but we couldn't bring, oh yeah, the standing bed. One, the existing, it's the half inside, it's the shed forward in front of the house.
Well, we could do that
We could do that
without
without
Don,
Don,
yes.
yeah.
He's important, but
Anybody
not
else?
that important.
Okay,
So we could do that, but
then I need to find another July meeting if you want to bring Holly back. Push guys,
Well, just so the board knows, I would be about, if you wanted to do it on the 12th and 26th, I can make both of those dates, so.
I cannot do the 12.
I could do the 26th.
hold up. I need to get the e-calendar in front of me.
what does your August look like, Don? I know you had a conflict in, did you have a conflict in August? Because it may take him a while, Josh, a
Last
while
thing.
too, to get the things together, so he might not even have his
Right.
stuff together in time for
You wanna
before
wait
the
until-
August meeting. So maybe we should just plan on if he asks to come back and he wants to present that, maybe we should just have him come to
August
the
2nd.
August meeting.
That would be the first August meeting, August 2nd.
Do you guys, how do you guys, your schedules are good on August 2nd? Yes.
So do you want to adjourn the public hearing until August 2nd?
But not close it?
Yeah.
I'm not closing it, right? I'm just
Right.
adjourning it until August 2nd.
Unless, I mean, and
Oh, because before I was saying I was to the next meeting.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
so
did.
yes, to the August 2nd meeting then, yes.
Okay.
So we'll keep this open.
But if he can't come then, or until he can come back, is that how you want to leave it? That's my only question, because that may not work with him. That's where I'm at.
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we'll have materials either at that point, so.
Well,
You could adjourn it to the next meeting with Golly.
yes. You think
Oh, you mean
The
not,
public hearing until the next time he's before the board, we can leave the public hearing open until the next time he's before the board.
you could say
So-
tentatively August 2nd, and if it's not gonna be that, then we'll advertise to adjourn the public hearing.
No, to do the adjourn it until. Not close it,
Adjourn it until till August, tentatively till August 2nd.
or until he is next available. we do it that,
I mean, are we gonna be ready?
I don't know how long you're gonna need the information from him in order to complete
Yeah.
seeker. So tentatively August 2nd, or until Mr. Colley has the information to us and can make another meeting, can someone say that in a motion?
Yes,
Okay.
In which case you'll re-advertise it.
well,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
right, because we're gonna need when, after he gets his things to us, we're going to need at least a solid week to 10 days to review it ourselves,
Right.
right? So,
So, I made a motion of those. Things.
okay. Would someone like to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting until public hearing until August 2nd,
Or we'll get
or,
time to evaluate the information.
right? No, you want it more wordy than that, more specific, Katrina?
No, I think we just want to adjourn the public hearing until August 2nd or until Mr. Colley is present at the next planning board meeting.
Okay,
In which case it will be re-advertised with the date.
okay,
Do you have-
what she said. Anybody want to make a motion that we,
I move that it's to accept.
anybody want to second that? Come on, Earl.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Yep. She's recused and Don is recused, so yes. This way is set.
I didn't see something. Wait.
Expecting changes.
Yes, I will absolutely know what it's saying.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mom.
Thank you, bye.
I got everything.
All right, don't trip, okay.
All right.
Sure. I think so. Just was no conflicting concerns on anything on the front.
Okay, you can come up. So the next item on our agenda is the Echo Center Special Use Permit Amendment, and this is also a public hearing. So the Echo Center is before us for a special use permit amendment for site plan approval to expand the south barn 16,000 square feet to provide a 30-foot wide trail connection easement to the southwest corner of the property south of the Lehigh Valley Trail to Semmel Road Park to allow Mendon residents direct access to a new recreational area directly from the rail bed and to increase the number of participants in the Echo Center programming from 6 to 50 at any given time on their property. Oh, isn't this nice?
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about I mean, these are some big changes from your original.
Big changes.
Yes.
It's not my imagination, right?
It's not your imagination. It's big changes in terms of scale, not big changes in terms of current participants on site, which is sort of the correction that we're looking for. So really the application, we have three proposals before you. One, to increase the south barn to create a second classroom, equine classroom, that would address the enormous wait list that we have. It's always standing between 120 and 160 people at any one time that cannot actually get into Echo Center because we simply don't have the space with the current small arena that we have. The second piece of our proposal is really addressing, correcting the number of participants that we have on site at any one time from 6 to 50. The reality is that right now there are 40 to 45 at any one time on site and have been for many years. So really, this new arena is actually only gonna increase the number of actual participants on site by about 5 to 6 max. Our classes, I don't know if you know a lot about our equine classes, but our classes are 1 to 3 individuals at any one time. We serve individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, veterans, and youth from historically underrepresented communities in the area. So this arena is effectively a second classroom. We would only have 1 to 3 individuals riding concurrently with those individuals riding in the existing arena. It's slightly bigger. This is a 5,400 square foot arena. This would be at 9,600. Is that right, Doug? 80 by 120. It's still not a huge arena, but it's bigger. It's better for the horses, better for their health. They're not constantly turning. It's better for our participants that they can actually learn more skills. There's sort of better skill development opportunities in the arena. It's better for our instructors and our volunteers who walk with the horses, that they're not all crammed in and getting really butt up against the walls. And what it's really doing is it's addressing a massive lack of opportunity in this community to actually provide therapeutic equine activities, right? It would be, and Doug can talk to the actual design of the building and how it would just sort of integrate pretty seamlessly with what exists today. So I'll let you.
Sure. So I expect Hamilton and Hamlin Architects.
I can do that.
I'll hold this one, and then you can do that.
Perfect. So as you can see here, this is just a view kind of from the main view of the property as you're approaching from 251. Just to show that, you know, what we're doing, it's going to be sympathetic to what's already there on site. We're not, you know, constructing a large building that's going to be blocking a lot of views. It's intended to blend into surroundings in which it's placed. So I'm trying to, you know, use some of the same materials that are on the existing building, make sure everything blends in and matches, just so that we don't have something that sticks out and scale.
Okay. You did a very nice job on this, on presenting all of this. You're going to increase the number of horses.
Yep, about, I think we're anywhere between 29 and 30 today to 35. So our acreage far exceeds town
Yes.
code.
Right, so
I
you're,
think we would need 80 acres where it's standard around 200. So we have an existing pasture that's sitting empty. We have about 25 acres of pastures currently. There's 5 acres of pastures that are fenced in and are empty and are ready for these horses when we're able to find them. I wish we could have a run on horses. They're not easy to find, so they come as they come. But there is a pasture that's actually sitting, this pasture here, called pasture 7, that exists today. And it's open.
and did I also see that you are going to be adding a parking lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And
the
that's gonna
parking,
be,
the parking would be here. It's really just gonna be the gravel. It's sort of already graded between between the two arenas, so that there would be handicap or ADA accessible parking here right next to the door.
right, and where those cars are, is where your current parking is?
That's correct. Well, here and up here.
Okay, and when you talked about the additional road, are you talking about that one coming back?
This here.
Okay,
Which it does not exist now because it's basically just a pathway through 2 pastures.
right,
Actually, no, that's not true. The road right now goes this way. You can see it.
oh, okay, I see, yes.
That road's gonna get, blocked off.
Blocked off.
The arena.
And so you're just gonna
we
remove
would
it.
remove it behind to the west.
How many additional spaces are you providing?
I believe 8, yep.
How did you figure the number of spaces you need?
Those were the engineers. We just asked them to put in, we didn't want too many spaces. Again, if there are more than, really, the max number of riders you could have at any one time would be 3. So we were thinking 3 cars plus 3 on deck waiting to ride in the next lesson. So
What's the 15? See, I'm looking at item 3.
Yeah.
Where you amended number 8.
Yeah.
Given time to 50, is that like when you would have buses and?
yeah, so currently we have 40 to 45 at any one time. So the difference between the 2010, the 6 that were asked for in 2010 and what we're actually at today, all relates to veterans and veteran programming that had been added over the years, which was the Mission Mustang program, the Mustang work that happens down here at the Round Pen, as well as the horticulture program that we run. So every week we have horticulture classes where veterans come in, a lot of veterans with PTSD and other injuries sustained in war.
So those would be groups of people in single vehicles, not like.
They come in
50
single
individual
vehicles.
Cars or
The
anything. like
kiddos that come from school groups, they come in buses. So, you know, we have school groups that come typically in the spring and the fall, and they will come in buses. So the larger number, the groups of 25, they come in school buses.
Okay.
They're not coming in an individual.
So the parking has to comply with the town code parking requirements. It's tricky because this doesn't exactly fit into any of the categories. The closest one I could find was outdoor recreation areas, maybe. But if you look at that calculation, it doesn't logically make sense because it asks you to provide, I think it's 5 spaces for, wrote it down somewhere. It just, you would have to have a huge amount of spaces, which doesn't make sense because most of your groups are in singular vehicles.
They're in a bus, yeah.
So we do have some discretion with the parking. I think we could
Mhm.
just kind of figure out what your needs are, and if it works for you, I think.
Yeah.
I would be okay with,
Yeah.
you know, if you're comfortable with 8 spaces.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah. It would really just to capture those individuals that come and use that second arena.
Now, where do the, is it all volunteers? Do you have employees? Employees and volunteers? And where's their parking?
It's not actually shown on this map, but it's here.
Okay,
Here and at the house.
okay. And do you anticipate increasing your amount of workers?
It's a good question. I anticipate minimal, maybe another instructor, maybe another equine care staff, adding 6 horses probably won't increase the amount of labor, we won't necessarily need to increase another bodies, just maybe hours to take care of extra horses. Potentially, yes, it could increase the number of volunteers we need, maybe 5 or 6.
And how many do you currently have?
Volunteers.
Well, like on staff at any
On
given
staff?
time, like how many people are there running the programs at any given moment? Roughly.
Roughly, probably 15.
15.
People between facilities, development, the office staff and administrative,
Right.
the equine care staff, the farm staff.
And so you anticipate that would be up, additional 5 or 6, so maybe you'd have 20 or 21 staff members.
Including
given-
including volunteers.
Including the
yeah,
volunteers at any
At
given
any
time.
given time, yeah.
I see that the outdoor lighting is going to be on both the eastern and western sides of the pass-through. So can you point out on there where that lighting is going to be?
Pass through, so this section of the building here would actually allow for people to pass through to the other side so that we can obtain access to.
Okay. Okay, so that,
There'd be lighting on either side.
Is it mounted to the building or?
Yes.
okay, and turned off by 9 p.m.
Oh, wait, well, we're shut down by 8.
Oh, okay, so, and then there's another entrance on the northern wall of the arena, and that,
That's the main entrance for.
Okay.
This particular. unit.
so. And then I'm gonna move on to, before I ask everybody else to bring up any questions or concerns that they have. Can you talk to me a little bit about this easement?
Yeah.
Or talk to us a little bit about this easement,
Well, this was just sort of a proposal from us. We have that land that is to the south of the Lehigh Valley Trail that sort of abuts the Semmel Road Park.
Okay,
And, you know, in the original special use permit, there was some discussion of some connection from the Lehigh Valley Trail to Rushmenden Road. I don't know. I wasn't around, so I have no idea if it was Rushmenden Road
The tennis court.
by the tennis courts or.
I don't know what that discussion was.
Right.
right, because none of us were here.
No. So that's really not a feasible option for us because our participants, many of our veterans, you know, 20% of all of our participants are veterans. You know, they're looking for a predictable environment where they know who's around, when they're around. So having sort of people, strangers walking through would not be conducive to health and wellness for them.
Right, so that was gonna lead me into my next kind of statement or question was that, you know, if you wanted to connect it to a public trail, were you planning on the public just being able to come in and out? Like, how does that work now? Is it more of a private,
Well, what we were proposing was having them, it would have absolutely no bearing on the actual programmatic side of our
Mhm.
property, because it would be going away from this. It would be-
Most of what we do stops at the trail.
Yeah.
On the other side of, you know, Epicenter property, I think it's about 30 acres on the other side of the trail that butts up to Semmel Road Park. That
We don't use.
that we've never used.
well, you don't use that.
We never use it. All our programming, everything we do stays on the
On your
Epicenter
side.
side of the trail.
Okay,
So-
now this
so-
is
so-
making sense.
So we never use that piece of property there. But being as it seems the town is now starting to develop Semmel Road Park and you've got the splash park,
Yes,
we figured it might be, if
Useful to
we
you.
give you an easement from the
Uh,
trail to give you access to Semmel Road Park, then that opens it up for people from Mendon, from the town, anybody has access
to get through to
to
some.
get through to Semmel Road.
It totally makes sense
And
to me now.
you know, cutting through our property, maybe in 2010, that was something that was feasible, but now it's just with our veteran population, that's not the right. thing
That's
to
not
do.
the right thing to do.
No.
Okay, okay, so does anybody have any questions?
Yes,
Oh, thank you.
the parking area there, do you have
Yeah.
drainage? Proposal for that?
I mean, everything is gravel and it's just runoff.
So the ground frozen.
Well, I mean, everything has always been, there's never been any drainage with the existing parking we've got.
Do you have a map of the whole showing your roadways and how you're going to get an emergency vehicle from point A to point B? Before you came around the outside there, there's gonna be enough room
Yeah.
between the fencing there to get through there.
Yeah, so that was built, that the engineers designed this so that they could access. The whole point of having this access road is that the Mustangs, that's a good question, the Mustangs are still here. So emergency vehicles would have to access. And as well as horse trailers.
How do the horses enter into the riding arena there? At what point?
They would enter in, there would be probably doors, just like we have doors here on the side of the arena. There would be probably sliding doors here.
Where do they come from?
And then for the pasture.
They would come from. You know, it depends what pasture they're coming from. Some of our horses are up here and they would come through. They would, sorry.
No, yeah, don't be sorry,
They
it's
would come
fine.
through, they would come through the aisle. So currently they come from any of the pastures around. They come up through the aisle and enter the arena or come in this way and enter the arena. So the same thing would happen for the second one. They come through the aisles either.
Yeah, right now we've got 3 large pastures at this end. There's 1, 2, 3. I think it's split sort of 50-50 where the horses are. We've got half of them here and then half of them are on this side.
Does each client have the special horse that they used yesterday? So you have a trainer, grabs that animal,
Yeah.
brings it in.
Yeah, so we have a whole board. So currently we have 175 people. In the session that are riding in our program, either mounted. Actually, sorry, not all riding. Some of them are mounted, some of them are unmounted. Every single person who comes, it's specialized, you have your instructor who determines what they need. And part of that determination is also what kind of horse they need. So what gait, what size, how balanced is the rider? If they're not balanced, they're gonna be on bigger horses. If, do they need volunteers? So every single person is assigned a horse, an instructor, and assigned volunteers depending on their needs.
I thought I'd seen in the notes there, you went from 6 employees to 50.
No, that was participants.
As participants.
Those were participants, yeah, so the original 6 in 2010.
And so how many, you said that your waiting list is quite, 120 to 160 at any given time.
Yeah.
So how is, if you're only going to increase your number of participants by a certain number, how do you anticipate lowering your?
So at any one time, we're increasing the number of participants. So I anticipate that we're going to be actually able to double. So this session, instead of having 175 riders, I could be accommodating double that. But they're not all going to be there at the same time.
Right,
They're
but you
over the
could be,
course
so,
of 6 days. Yeah.
right, so you would be able to accommodate about 350, so you're looking at maybe double what you're doing.
Yeah,
Right
yeah,
now.
Yeah. And we are the only premier accredited facility in the Finger Lakes region. The closest is Buffalo, and then SUNY Cobleskill,
Mhm.
I think is the next closest. We're one of 20 sites in the country that has been part of the Veterans Adaptive Sports Grant. We're highly sought after by therapists and medical providers across the region.
Could you get us a site plan of the whole project so we have something record here?
I think
it was in the.
It's kind of all in pieces, right? I don't think there's an overall with
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, so this is the site plan of the project.
It's just the localized site, though. It's not everything that shows the streets, the
Yeah.
whole parcel.
Yeah, I think in the engineering report, there is one. Yeah, so as part of, this is it. Well, I guess you don't actually have all 200 acres on here. So you want the full. This kind of gives you a
Tomorrow you'll be back.
what?
Tomorrow you'll be back.
I'm trying to think. We have all of these different maps that were provided in the environmental report. Would this be almost the full? What's the soil map? We could absolutely. Oh, wait, here we go. There you go. So this shows the tax parcels. 251. Here's our property. This is the trail. So all the way down to here.
Right. And it's this.
Mhm. All the way up. Mhm. Actually, and this is ours as well.
So now, if you're going to be increasing to 300, from 175 to 350, are you adding bathrooms? Like, I know that here they're talking about, DDS, mentioned about the, about the, waste, the septic, and if
Yeah.
it was gonna be able to handle that.
Yeah.
Increase.
So we are going to be adding bathrooms in that space, and Doug can probably talk to that. But what we call pasture 2, which is to the bottom right of that picture, would be where we would be adding a septic.
So you plan to add an additional, so you have
Oh,
a septic now and you're going to be adding an
We would add
additional
another septic, yeah.
septic.
When you guys had given us approval for the new office space, so we actually built, we increased from 1 to 3 bathrooms there already.
I think on site, we have a total of 7 bathrooms
The house has.
that are accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
So that number doubles, and you're not going to have double the people on any given day.
No.
It's just the cycle is
It's just
more
the same,
robust.
right, exactly. Yeah. So instead of, let's say, we're just talking about the riders or the people in the equine program, instead of having, I mean, the typical lesson is either a private or semi-private, so there are very few groups of 3, maybe 1 a week. So let's say 2 people in a lesson. You have 2 people in the arena, two students in the arena. You might have 2 on deck who arrive 10 minutes before their lesson. So that's 1 arena. And then the second arena, in theory, would have 2 people in the arena and 2 people on deck waiting for their next lesson. Nobody can sort of stick around. We don't allow people to sort of hang around, and it's not.
Are you having to increase your operating hours?
No. No, still, we're not planning on opening on Sundays. Lessons are still 9 to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 9 to 6 on Friday, and 9 to 4 on Saturdays.
If a person is here today,
Yeah,
when is the next time they come back?
today, next week.
Same day next week?
We have a slot, yeah. We have 4 sessions a year. They're between 8 and 12 weeks each session. You sign up for the session. You have a slot, you have a lesson time. So you have your instructor, you have your course, you have your volunteers, and that is your time every week for the duration of the session. Now, it might change session to session, but we offer 44 weeks of programming a year. And every person is assigned a specific day, time, course, and instructor for the session.
Do you have a time frame on when you're going to start, like construction schedule, an anticipated start date and anticipated date that
Yeah.
you'd like to finish by?
Yeah, we would like to start the site work next week. I'm just teasing, but no, quite honestly, we would like to start the site work. We have probably 50% of the funding that we need to do to complete this building. We have quotes for completing this, essentially a pole barn for completing it. And we think that moving forward with the site work and moving forward with the structure will get us, you know, we have to go out and get donors to give money, but donors give money when projects are moving as opposed to,
Right.
you know.
So this is
it
definitely,
all in-house?
Yeah, we have a development team. We have very active donors. We just got $50,000 from the Golisano Foundation for the first time ever to complete the ADA bathroom in that office space there. They are coming out next week. We are very active with the donors. We just had the county come out. Adam Bella's been out several times. The head of the Veteran Services Agency came out this morning and met with us for a couple of hours. So there's just a lot of interest because there's a need.
right,
There's a need for this facility, and
but it's still somewhat funding dependent. What your construction calendar would be.
funding dependent, but the goal is, and I think a very realistic goal is 12 months.
So full year, okay,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. The site would be prepped and ready to go, and we could hopefully get it up within 12 to 16 months is my guess.
And your target completions?
Our target completion would probably be September or October of next year. If we can get the funding, you know, then you have to get onto builder schedules but that's the goal.
Anybody else have any questions?
Well, comment. I gotta say, I appreciate the design of this, that you
Yeah.
actually took time to articulate additions, so it's pulled away from the existing,
Yeah.
and it's not just one big mass that
No.
you attached to what was
No.
there. That's
No.
good. But I also think we do need to see the engineering for the septic. It's new, right? That's going in. Is that-
And I think we. Yes.
Well, we don't have any engineering for septic yet.
So we need a real site plan drawing, I guess, is what we're looking for. That's what I'm looking for, sorry. That would show, basically would show the limits of your site, like an actual. Probably you would have submitted one when you went for your initial. Permit drawings. Back in 2010, did you, that wasn't.
It was
you guys?
way
before.
Okay, that was not you guys, okay.
That's long before any of this.
These are nice and they're helpful and they definitely get the ball rolling, but I think what we need to see. I know your parking is gravel, but it still has to pitch properly. We need to see the engineering of the site in general, I think. At least I would like to see that. This is a little schematic, I think, to go for a. This is final approval, is that what they're looking for?
Well, yeah, they're
Site
looking,
approval, not looking for the building.
Right, for final site plan approval, is that? what-
well, they're looking for approval to amend their special use permit. So, it's not really. Yeah, it's just a site plan, well, site plan approval to expand the south barn.
The other thing we normally consider is, I know you said your lighting is building mounted. Usually we like to see photometrics on the lighting, what type of fixtures you're using. What type of, the mounting heights and all that stuff, and they actually plot some photometrics on the drawing. This is nowhere near the property line, so it's not a huge deal, but it is one of the criteria for site plan.
Your electric service sample now.
Yeah, I actually had somebody from last Friday. We do have what do you call it, plan for a tombstone transformer on site that's up by the house, where we've got everything. Comes in from there and then it gets split up. So engineer came out and looked at that and told us that we have more than enough to pull off that again. But he also said the structure that we're looking at building. Most likely now is LED. So essentially you're looking at LED and a blower motor for a furnace would really be the most draw that you would have on that. So there was no concerns at all about having a use there.
So specifically. You would want the engineers to do something beyond what they did in their report, which was.
So did you specific other perk tests that were done in the area where you're actually going to put the septic? I don't know if there were or not. To be honest, I didn't see any.
Yeah. Yeah, so you got the soil data, classified as CIB, column silt loam. Silty fine sanded loam, so very free draining.
You know what page you're looking at?
So the DDS report, if you have that in front of you,
Yeah.
it's on the second page.
That's the here.
I think where it says soil data.
Here we go.
Yeah, that tells what the soil is, but it's the data of how fast it drains is kind of what we.
Okay.
They're perk tests that are usually done and they're specific to the location where you're putting the septic.
I mean, could we make the case that right now we have enough bathrooms on site for the participants that we have?
We're adding 5 more an hour, would that be? Do we need
I mean,
another
ultimately,
septic tank?
ultimately, we do want to add bathrooms in there. Ultimately, we do want to add bathrooms in there. You know, and we can go through there, but right now we're looking. With what we have, with the bathroom space that we have, with the number of participants we're talking about, can we still move ahead and get an approval on the site without that?
So you're saying that you wouldn't be doing the additional septic right now?
I don't,
You're not sure?
I'm not sure, but I don't necessarily think there's a need for it. Because we're talking about so few additional participants. It would be a nice to have. I don't think it's a must have.
Right, so then we would need an analysis of the existing septic to some type of a report to say that with this increase in the number of people, the anticipated amount of water going through the septic system in the leach field is adequate. Do you guys agree with that? I mean, I'm just, yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else we would need to? And would we have to come before planning again? with that?
Right, so, as Teresa mentioned, a full site plan would be, I know you're just asking for the approval right now for the,
For the whole barn.
for the pole barn. But that there's a lot of things that go into when you build, where the water's going, where the drainage is, like all those types of things. How do you guys feel about them having an actual site plan drawn?
I think they should. We had roof drainage off that building.
Mm-hmm.
The gravel's gonna be fine, but I think you're gonna have a problem with the runoff off that roof. In that
Okay.
center area.
You too, Teresa?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of new roof.
Yeah.
That affects, it's gonna affect the drainage on the site.
In a site plan will show
What's the
that.
grade like in that immediate area? Does it fall off to a point where you
The
could,
grade right there,
where you
because
could
that's-
lose it via gravity?
well, that, where we've got that pass through. We're actually, because the ground does fall away good ways, we're actually changing, we're dropping the grade 3 feet. With that pass through, we're doing 1 in 12 to be ADA compliant, to bring the, so we have to move, obviously we move a lot less dirt when we build. But when we took the levels from where the new building would start, abutting up to the old one, down to this bottom corner, there's about a 6-foot drop from there, just to give you some idea of what the grade is. And that's actually probably the flattest part of the site. It starts to drop significantly from the, from right there, it really just starts to pitch a lot steeper down towards the edge of the property line. And then obviously on the other side of the property line, I think it's about 50 feet into the neighbor's property is where that feeder creek starts, that wraps all the way around. We're about 550 feet from there, from the end of that building to where that water course is. It's about 550 feet.
So the grading would be important to show on the next drawing that you're gonna submit. And then we probably would want to know the amount of disturbance, area of disturbance, which would be regrading. The part that you're changing the slope of, if you are.
Yeah, we have all that. So are we still able to get a vote on the other two pieces? Or is it all one package? Do we have to come back with all of them?
Okay, so the other two pieces, meaning the 30-foot wide trail connection easement and the
Correcting the number of participants on site.
so. How do you guys feel? But I'm not sure about the easement just because I'm not sure.
Yeah, that one I'm not.
I'm not 100% sure on that. I know you
But the
added.
correcting the number of
We could
participants.
probably. What do you think, Teresa? Or No, just do it all at once.
Do it all at once,
Yeah,
just do it all at once.
yeah. I mean, I don't anticipate there's gonna be any.
I hope not, because it's our veterans and our kids. that
Yeah,
are
no,
here
no, I
already.
don't, yeah,
So
they're already.
we're just trying to correct something that wasn't touched.
Right, so it was, so these changes have been made gradually over the course of time, and now. As you're going to expand, you see that that hasn't always been. It's exceeded the amount of the initial special use permit.
Are
And you
we
just
sure,
want to make sure you want to correct that.
are we sure the town wants an easement between the Lehigh Trail?
I'm not, we were just offering it
Right.
to you because we understood you wanted access from the trail to some road, so that was something,
My time.
something we were offering. But we, you don't have to accept
Right,
that.
so
at all.
that's-
Not,
So that's something we have to
Correct.
look into.
that's your.
The amount of participants that's already going on now, we're not gonna, I don't think anybody's gonna come shut you down and say, no. And then if you get the actual site plan to us showing the grading
Okay.
and the disturbance, and what else did we want to see on that site plan?
Perfect.
Yeah, and if you are gonna do
An
the
additional
septic, you can
septic.
show that.
But if we aren't gonna do the septic, you want an analysis of the
Yeah,
existing.
just to make
Yes.
sure it can handle it.
How much water is gonna be on that coming off that roof?
Mhm.
Where's it gonna go?
But it's gonna drain off into pasture 7.
Is it all pitched one way?
Mhm.
It's pitched all one way, the roof is?
No, that roof is.
Oh, no, the pitch is,
Okay,
the roof is.
the roof runs, ridge runs this way.
But it
Yeah.
would come all down.
Just.
Yeah,
It should
yeah.
down.
Okay.
Is there
It
room
shed
to
into
just
pasture.
put it in the pipe and run it to daylight?
Yeah, but on both sides, but on the.
It would still pitch into the pasture. Same pasture.
It's the center courtyard that.
Not to design it for somebody.
I know, I was just thinking the same thing.
We just need some
I mean, running
consideration.
out that area between those two, the existing and the proposed. A large portion of that is gravel already and everything is pitched.
pitched as well. But now you're gonna stop that, you're gonna put a riding arena there, it's gonna flow that way, you're gonna have to catch it. If
Well,
you
everything's already going.
Yeah.
Everything is already going that
So
way.
that needed some drainage.
Right.
catch it there,
Yeah.
it's gonna go that way.
Right.
So if it's going that way, you're going across your driveway, so you're gonna need something under your roadway there, a pipe or whatever, just show something.
Right.
All right, so you would recommend just coming back in August?
Well, I would.
We have
This
to
is
go
what I
through the
would like
whole.
to try is if you, I don't know how long it's gonna take to get this done realistically for you. If I see now running into the weird holiday thing, because they need everything a week before a meeting in order to. Look it over. We don't involve our town engineer, so it's just the, actually just these people. So if I got you on the 19th, I would need everything from you no later than July 12th. at noon. And then I can send it on to them. Is that okay with you? Getting in the week prior, same as normal, and then put you on the 19th.
Okay, would I have to redo the whole application? No, okay, so
No.
just
All your,
get this plan then.
yeah, the full site plan, which DDS can do for you,
Yep.
should do for you,
Yeah.
or should have. A septic analysis, is that what you're asking for? And then a drainage, showing the drainage coming off of the pole barn, the new one that they're writing, that one, is that what you're asking for?
Site drainage.
Site drainage,
Mhm.
okay.
And the
That
site
would be part of.
And the site, yeah,
That would be
part
part
of
of the
septic
site plan.
analysis, and then the site drainage.
We could call it a site/grading plan, because we do want to see the grading on there.
Okay, site/grading plan. Okay. Thank you, no, because I need it. Relay it.
Okay.
Out of curiosity, what is your riding arena base? Is it sand? Is it a silicon base? Is it a wax?
Is it a footing? Are you asking for the base or the footing? Like,
The
what,
whole-
the base is,
That's rough.
right, and
With
the,
drainage.
correct.
What do you have above that?
It's a sand wax mixed with fibers in it.
So you're using that wax with the fiber material. in it.
Yeah, so we don't wet it, it's got the wax in the sand.
I know what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, we would not use that in the. We would
It sticks
use,
to everything.
it sticks to everything, so we would use something a little less high maintenance in the new arena.
So I don't see, so this still is a public hearing for this.
Right,
So I think, there's really no public unless Mr. Brent would like to speak. Would you like to speak, Mr. Brent? Are you opening? Okay.
No,
all right, no, I'm opening up a public hearing. I'm opening a hearing.
From 987 Miles Square Road, I noticed that the ECB commented about the 30-foot easement going across and.
I did
the
see
little
that.
wetlands, there is a lot of wetlands in that area. I would hope that the Eco Center would consider giving the town access to that. To form a working group to identify exactly and do an inventory down there to see if a connection to Summer Road is possible. And they could propose an easement to the Eco Center.
The town would, I'm not supposed to be interacting with you, but the town would propose. The town would propose the easement to, the Aqua Center.
So the town could form a working group, maybe a planning board member, a town board member, and DCP member
Mhm.
to go down there, inventory what is down there. Is the connection to Summer Road possible through those wetlands? There is a lot of guidance on how to do trails through wetlands. But, maybe we're not interested with the level of investment that's necessary. But I'd like to at least investigate it if the Aqua Center is so.
yeah, I mean, that's basically what we're offering.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and that's what I'm feeling.
We're offering this and you guys do really what you want.
I don't think it's gonna be a straight line though, going through the wetland. I think it's gonna be a little bit to follow the high ground,
Yeah.
maybe be a couple of boardwalks.
Yeah.
That we can make it work.
Yeah, I mean, if it could work, I think it would be huge.
for the town.
For the town to have access from the trail to the
I
top.
think it would be gigantic.
Mhm.
People could connect from the hamlet to
Yeah,
the splash pad.
Okay. All right, so moving forward, I think we will leave this public hearing open until our next meeting, which we anticipate will be the 19th, but we'll leave the public hearing open until the next time you appear before us, just. Yes, you can have a motion. Hold on.
Yeah, one.
Okay, somebody like to make a motion that we keep the public hearing open? Teresa?
Sorry.
And Earl, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. It is wonderful what what you've done for the community, for the veterans, for the,
Very worthy project,
it is just, it's
something that the deep pockets can get behind, right? Because it's.
Go spend money on something.
Yeah,
The shares come.
No,
No, that's fine.
Lauren.
not mine.
No,
Thank you.
It's.
Oh, yeah.
okay. Now, any general discussion? Oh, any other public hearing or public comment, right? Is that my next thing on the?
One online, I'd say.
Oh, gosh, we don't know who she is, okay, nosy, busybody. Any general discussion, anybody have anything that we'd like to discuss or? Vacation plans for the summer other than,
I have no life.
you know, well,
Good, you can join the committee who are going to look at their nomination.
I think he's leaning that way.
I saw that pointing finger right at you, Charlie.
So you have your next meeting after this, is July 19th, without Don. It'll be the Happen site plan, which is just, I gave you the,
This one?
information tonight, it has a little posted on it saying 7/19 meeting.
There we go.
Yeah, so that is, just forward part of the house, it's not gonna involve Mike, it's not gonna talk anything. We'll have the Aqua Center on there as well. And then, so your fifth is canceled, and then we're looking at August.
You know what I wanted to tell them? their seeker one, their form wasn't completed. They didn't fill out anything. They didn't yes or no anything.
Okay, I'll email them.
Will you let them know that? I meant to bring that up.
And then, looking at the second, one of the 10 of Collie, I will get in touch with him tomorrow as well. And see if that works. That's where you are. So,
Yes? So we like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting? We will send
I'll make a movie.
Okay,
I saw her noise, I thought it was Teresa
and Charlie,
and Charlie.
yeah, Charlie, all in favor? Not you? You want to stay on?
This day, he's sorry.